Hi everyone, this is Grace with hashtag Make Bullhead Better, and today I'm so excited to announce that I am partnering with Mojave Valley Daily News, and I have my first sponsor, so that's very exciting. They are really good family friends of ours actually. They have been in Bullhead City for 17 years and have owned their business for 8 years. It has been so successful that they actually have over 2,000 customers now. I bet you're wondering what company I'm talking about. I'm talking about TriState WiFi. Offers high-speed internet. We use them at our house, and also my husband uses them at their business. I'm so excited to partner with them because I know that that is something that we need in our area. We need high-speed internet, and we need it to be reliable, and we need good, fast customer service. So I would encourage everyone to please reach out to TriState WiFi if you need internet service. Their phone number is 763-3446. And when you call them, you can say that you heard about them here and you'll get $75 off. So your installation fee, which is normally $75, will be waived just by saying that you heard about TriState WiFi here. So, all right, let's get to this interview with Johnny from the Code Enforcement Department at the City of Bullhead City.
Good morning. Yeah, my name is Johnny Loera, and I'm with the Bullhead City Planning and Zoning Department and also the Code Enforcement Department. So I work on the planning side. We do more of the land use type work, and on the code enforcement, obviously we work with lot cleanings, demolitions, those types of works, projects.
About a month and a half ago, I'd say, we had a terrible windstorm, and then just last week we had another one, which causes a lot of damage to houses and especially trailers. What happens in those situations when damage happens to people's property and then code enforcement is driving around and sees that damage?
So the officer will take pictures, they'll come back into the office, they'll research who owns the property. If it's a tenant, tenant will get a letter as well as the property owner. But I mean, we understand when there's these big, weather events, whether it's, like I said, a windstorm or a rainstorm, we always want to work with people to give them time to remedy the situation. So, like you mentioned, windstorms, we might have some awnings that blew over, things like that. So we'll send letters out informing the property owners that this has occurred, because sometimes they're not local, so they have to be notified. And we give them, their first notice is 15 days. Second notice is 30 days. If at that point, if the problem's not been remedied, then we have lot cleaners that work with us, with the city, that will do the work, and then we'll bill that back to the property owner.
Could you explain a little bit about what the purpose of code enforcement is and why it's so important to an incorporated city?
So the main purpose of code enforcement is to promote the health and welfare of the city. So cleanliness is one of the most important facets of this. So we have, obviously, like we mentioned, these weather events where there's damage to structures. We have issues sometimes with shopping carts that are abandoned on the side of the road, weeds, properties that are dilapidated, that are structurally deficient, broken windows, broken doors, open and accessible, vehicles that are abandoned. So these are all the issues that cause the city to look blighted. So that's what we focus on. We want to really keep the city looking clean. We want to keep property values up and keep all the neighborhoods looking as best as they can.
So if somebody is in their neighborhood and they see a blighted home or they see an abandoned car, they see something that does not look nice, who should they contact? How do they go about doing that?
So you can contact us via just telephone if you'd like. Contact number is 928-763-0190 or through our website, bullheadcity.com. There's also an app, it's called the Bullhead City Direct. On our end, it's called Go, but that will actually allow you to take pictures. It'll geolocate the location, and then you can send us a message with the concern that the resident may have.
That's a wonderful app. I've been using it, and I think it's just great. So what about for people who want to make minor alterations to their home or to their trailer, and it's on the outside where people can see? Can they just go ahead and do that, or do they have to go through a process?
Yeah, it depends what they're doing. So obviously we always encourage people to call either the Planning and Zoning Department or the Building Department. If it's really aesthetic improvements, nothing structural, sometimes you don't need a permit if you're just painting, if you're replacing, let's say, just the roofing material itself, shingles or tiles. But once you get kind of into the structural part of it, so if you're replacing plywood, if it's a mobile home and you're replacing siding, if you're doing stucco, replacing windows, doors, those items do require a permit. So we ask that people give us a call. That number would be 928-763-0123, and we can walk you through the process on that as well.
I know for myself, my mom is 82 years old and she, has weeds. Everybody has weeds. That's probably the biggest complaint. But she's not able to go out there and pull her own. So, we help her. But there's a lot of elderly people here that don't have family in town, that don't have any help, or something, like a windstorm happens and their house gets hurt. So is there anything that's being done to help these people that don't have anybody else to help them?
I mean, at the moment, we give people plenty of time, depending on the circumstances. So we always want to work with people to make sure that their properties get cleaned. We do have lot cleaners that are very reasonable, so we give those numbers out. In years past, there was a program called Neighbors Helping Neighbors that has been defunct for several years now. So we are at least starting the conversation on seeing if it'd be possible to bring that program back. And that, I think, was made up of civic organizations. I think some of the schools were involved, and these groups get together. And if somebody met the qualifications, like you said, if they were elderly, if they didn't have the funds to clean it, then there'd be a way to help these people out. So we're going to start talking about, at least open up that conversation about maybe doing that again.
That's wonderful. I think that'll be a huge benefit to our community. Lastly, what if somebody does not answer any of the, phone calls, they don't answer any of the letters, and, there's a structure that gets red tagged, that's what I've heard it's called,
Right.
Then what's the process after that?
So it depends what the citation is for. So if it's just weeds, if it's minor stuff like that, we have the process that we go through with notifications. If they don't respond, at a certain point, once we've done our legal notifications, we will send that property out to bid. We have a list of lot cleaners. I believe we have 5 or 6 on the list right now that the city works with. So the city will actually pay the lot cleaners to go out and get the property cleaned, and then that gets billed back to the property owner. If it's a structure that's in really bad shape and we don't have a response, same thing. We go through our legal process. We do our notifications, certified letters, title reports. If we don't get a response and the property is in that bad a shape, we also have a couple of contractors that have demolition licenses, so they have the proper licenses with the state to actually go in and demolish those properties. And same thing happens, we send those bills to the property owner.
And how many houses would you say a year get demolished in Bullhead City because you haven't heard back from that property owner?
I think most of the time we hear back, and sometimes the property owners find that it's cheaper to use the demolition contractors that the city utilizes than to do it themselves or to get their own contractor. But overall, I think probably 20-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood of houses that get demolished per year. But like I said, it's rare that we don't get a response from the property owner, and a lot of them do either do the work themselves or they hire somebody to do it for them.
So then that property just goes back to the property owner, or does that become the property of the city?
Yeah, I mean, it's the property owner. It belongs to them. So, they get the bill, and there is a process by which, if there's liens on the property, some of these properties have liens, for sometimes property taxes, for sewer assessments, and then for demolition. But those are kind of the extreme cases. In most cases, the bill just goes to the property owner. They'll pay it off, and there's no issue with us or with anybody else.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything else you'd like the public to know about the Code Enforcement Department as far as, sometimes there can be a negative stigma attached to it?
Yeah. I think, some of the work that we do obviously is not popular. If you're on that end of the interaction where you're being told your property needs to be cleaned or there's a structure that's dangerous, that's, obviously not the greatest interaction with us. But we also have great interactions with neighbors who want things addressed because they live there full time. They want their neighborhood to be clean. They want to keep their property values up. So we get both sides of it, but I just want people to know that we're always willing to work with residents. We don't want to cite anybody. We don't want to demolish any houses, but sometimes it gets to that point. But we are more than happy to work with people, give them time. to remedy these situations before it gets to that point. So that's kind of the biggest takeaway I'd like to people to get from this is, give us a call. We're, like I said, we're happy to work with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Johnny, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much to TriState WiFi. If you're looking for high-speed internet, please call them at 763-3446. They are a locally owned, family-run business that offers a great service. So if you're looking for high-speed internet, please call them.